The quantum detection grid sparked to life at 300 hours Earth Standard Time. Deep within UNDF Command's subterranean complex in Geneva, Dr. Elena Santos stared at the holographic display with a mixture of dread and anticipation. The moment humanity had prepared for over the last 15 years had finally arrived. "Director Chen, we have confirmation," Elena announced, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "The Krylaxian fleet has crossed the Kuiper Belt threshold. Their stealth systems are exactly as our deep cover agents reported." Director James Chen, head of Earth's Defense Force, approached the quantum display. His weathered face reflected the blue glow of the holographic ships. Over 300 vessels moving in perfect formation, their hull signatures masked by what the Krylaxians believed to be undetectable cloaking technology. "How many did they send?" Chen asked, though he already knew the answer. The Krylaxians always followed the same pattern: overwhelming force, complete superiority, no chance of resistance. 347 capital ships, plus support vessels. Elena manipulated the display, highlighting the massive dreadnought at the fleet's center. "That's the Imperial flagship, the Eternal Dawn. Crown Prince Zexthor himself is leading this invasion." Chen allowed himself a small smile. They really did send their best. The Crown Prince must be quite confident. "They have no reason not to be," Elena replied. "According to all their intelligence, we're still struggling with basic fusion technology. Their scans show our orbital defense grid is primitive, our ships are powered by chemical rockets, and we have no quantum capabilities whatsoever." 15 years of deception, Chen mused. Every fake research paper, every deliberately failed test, every leaked report about our technological limitations, it all led to this moment. He turned to face the assembled command staff. "Initialize Operation Thunderbolt. All stations, prepare for Phase 1. Throughout the solar system, humanity's true defensive grid began to power up. Hidden beneath the surface of Mars, quantum reactors thrummed to life. Within the asteroid belt, what appeared to be simple mining operations revealed themselves to be massive weapon platforms. And in high Earth orbit, thousands of satellites simultaneously shed their disguises, transforming into state-of-the-art combat vessels. For 15 years, humanity had maintained the greatest deception in its history. When the first Krylaxian probe had entered the solar system, Earth's leaders had made a crucial decision. Rather than reveal their true technological capabilities, they would appear weak, primitive, and ripe for conquest. Every advancement in quantum physics, artificial intelligence, and weapons technology was hidden behind a facade of technological incompetence. The Krylaxians had taken the bait. Known throughout the galaxy as undefeated conquerors, they had subjugated dozens of civilizations through overwhelming military might. Their pattern was always the same: send an unstoppable fleet, demand surrender, and absorb the conquered species into their empire as servants. But humanity had spent those 15 years studying them, learning their weaknesses, and preparing a welcome they would never forget. "Fleet positions confirmed," announced Captain Sarah Miller from her tactical station. "All ships report ready. Quantum entanglement grid is online and stable." Elena checked her own readings. The quantum entanglement grid was humanity's greatest achievement, a weapon system that could turn the Krylaxians' own technology against them. But it would only work if they maintained the element of surprise. "Time to invasion fleet arrival," Chen asked. 48 hours at current velocity, Miller reported. "They're moving cautiously, still believing their stealth systems make them invisible." Chen nodded. "Send the signal to all commands. Operation Thunderbolt is now active. May God have mercy on their souls, because we certainly won't." Throughout the solar system, humanity's forces waited in perfect silence. The trap was set. In 48 hours, the mighty Krylaxian Empire would learn a painful lesson about underestimating their prey. And the galaxy would never be the same. Elena returned to her station, monitoring the quantum grid's power levels. She thought about all the species that had fallen to the Krylaxians, all the civilizations forced into servitude. Earth would not be joining them. Instead, humanity would become something the Empire had never faced before, the prey that bites back. The countdown to humanity's greatest battle had begun. In the darkness of space, 347 Krylaxian ships continued their advance, their crews confident in their absolute superiority. They had no way of knowing they were flying straight into an ambush 15 years in the making. Crown Prince Zexthor stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, his scaled skin gleaming under the ship's lights. He had led dozens of conquest fleets, and this would be his greatest victory yet. The humans, with their primitive technology and fragmented governments, would kneel before him just as all others had. But on Earth, in the depths of the UNDF Command Center, humanity's defenders knew different. They had spent 15 years preparing for this moment, and they had no intention of kneeling before anyone. The silent invasion was about to become the loudest defeat in Krylaxian history. 24 hours before the Krylaxian fleet's arrival, Earth's forces executed their final preparations. In the quantum labs beneath Geneva, Dr. Elena Santos made the last adjustments to the entanglement grid's targeting matrix. Each modification had to be perfect. Their entire strategy depended on it. Final diagnostic complete, Elena announced to Director Chen. The quantum resonance patterns are stable. When their shields activate, the entanglement effect will cascade through their entire fleet. Chen studied the simulation playing out on the holographic display. The Krylaxians' quantum shields were their greatest strength, making their ships virtually invulnerable to conventional weapons. But Elena's team had discovered something revolutionary. Those same shields could be turned into a weapon against them. "Show me the projected effect one more time," Chen requested. Elena initiated the simulation. In the hologram, a Krylaxian dreadnought's shields flared to life. The quantum entanglement grid activated, sending precisely calibrated pulses through space. The shield's energy patterns began to shift, its quantum field becoming entangled with those of nearby vessels. Within seconds, the entire fleet's defensive systems were linked in ways their designers never intended. The beauty of it, Elena explained, is that they won't detect anything wrong until it's too late. Their shields will appear to be functioning normally, but when we trigger the cascade, she didn't need to finish the sentence. The simulation showed the devastating result. Throughout the solar system, humanity's forces maintained their deception. Automated distress calls continued broadcasting from Earth's colonies, reporting food shortages and technological failures. False sensor data showed primitive defense satellites making clumsy course corrections with chemical thrusters. Everything reinforced the image of a civilization barely able to maintain its basic infrastructure. On Mars, General Sarah O'Connor supervised the final preparations of the subterranean launch facilities. What the Krylaxian scans showed as abandoned mining complexes were actually massive hangars housing Earth's most advanced warships. Each vessel was equipped with quantum drives and weapons that matched or exceeded Krylaxian technology. "All ships report ready," her aide announced. "Quantum drives are spooled but inactive. We're maintaining minimal power signatures." O'Connor nodded. "Remind all commanders, no powered-ups until the signal comes. We only get one shot at surprising them." The Krylaxian fleet crossed Neptune's orbit, their sensors probing ahead for any signs of resistance. Crown Prince Zexthor reviewed the latest intelligence reports with satisfaction. The humans were reacting exactly as expected. Their primitive early warning systems had only just detected the fleet's approach. "Their response is chaotic," his tactical officer reported. "Their ships are burning chemical fuel to reach defensive positions. Their communications are filled with panic. Several of their colonial outposts are requesting immediate evacuation." Zexthor's scaled lips curled into what passed for a smile among his species. "Send the standard conquest declaration. Demand their immediate surrender and remind them that resistance will only increase their suffering." The message was transmitted, its quantum signals cutting through space at speeds the humans supposedly couldn't achieve. On Earth, in the UNDF Command Center, Elena and Chen watched it arrive. Right on schedule, Chen mused. They always give their victims one chance to surrender peacefully. He turned to his communications officer. Send the response we prepared. Make it appropriately frightened and defiant. Earth's reply was everything the Krylaxians expected. A mixture of desperate bravado and technological ignorance. The humans claimed they would fight to the last, while their sensors still couldn't even pinpoint the invasion fleet's exact position. 12 hours to optimal attack range, Elena reported. All quantum grid nodes are in position and synchronized. The moment they power up their shields for battle, we'll have them. Chen watched the tactical display, where the Krylaxian fleet continued its inexorable advance. 15 years of preparation, all coming down to the next 12 hours. Have our deep cover agents transmitted their final reports? Yes, sir. The Krylaxian Empire has committed nearly 40% of their total fleet strength to this invasion. They're so confident of victory, they've left several of their core worlds virtually undefended. Their arrogance will be their undoing, Chen said quietly. Not just here, but across their entire empire. When we strike, it won't just be Earth fighting back. Throughout the conquered worlds of the Krylaxian Empire, secret resistance cells waited for the signal. Earth's intelligence agencies had spent years building networks, smuggling weapons, and preparing for this moment. When humanity revealed its true strength, the entire empire would erupt in rebellion. The next 12 hours passed with agonizing slowness. Elena triple-checked every component of the quantum grid, knowing that a single miscalculation could doom their entire plan. In orbit and beyond, humanity's hidden fleet waited in perfect silence, their crews ready for the moment of revelation. Crown Prince Zexthor prepared his victory speech, never suspecting that he was about to make very different kind of history. The mighty Krylaxian Empire, undefeated for 3 centuries, was about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous prey is the one that lets you think you're the predator. The Krylaxian fleet entered weapons range at precisely 600 Earth Standard Time. Crown Prince Zexthor gave the order that would seal his empire's fate. Power up combat shields. Prepare to fire on all human defensive positions. In the UNDF command center, Elena Santos watched the quantum readings spike. They're activating their shields, Director. Entanglement patterns are forming exactly as predicted. Execute Operation Thunderbolt. Chen commanded. All units, commence attack. The first indication that something was wrong came from the Krylaxian fleet's rear guard. Their shields, designed to be impenetrable, began resonating at frequencies their engineers had never anticipated. The quantum entanglement grid activated, turning 347 separate shield systems into a single interconnected web of energy. My prince, the Eternal Dawn's tactical officer called out in alarm. Shield harmonics are destabilizing across the fleet. Some kind of quantum interference. Before he could finish, humanity revealed its true strength. The surface of Mars rippled as massive hangar doors opened, disgorging hundreds of warships that accelerated to quantum speeds in seconds. The asteroid belt came alive with weapon platforms that had masqueraded as mining stations, and Earth's orbital satellites transformed into sleek destroyers armed with technology that matched or exceeded anything in the Krylaxian arsenal. Impossible. Zexthor roared as the tactical display updated. Their technology. They couldn't have hidden this from us. But they had. For 15 years, humanity had maintained the greatest deception in military history. Now, as the Krylaxian fleet scrambled to respond, that deception turned lethal. The quantum entanglement grid activated its second phase. Each Krylaxian shield, already linked to its neighbors, began to oscillate at precisely calculated frequencies. Energy cascaded through the fleet in a wave of destructive resonance. Ships at the formation's edge found their shields transforming into electromagnetic shockwaves that ripped through their hull plating. Break formation. Zexthor commanded, but it was too late. The tighter their ships packed together, the more devastating the cascade effect became. Vessels at the fleet's core, including the Eternal Dawn, were trapped in a web of their own shield energy. From her command post on the Martian dreadnought Hyperion, General O'Connor gave the order to advance. All ships, execute attack pattern Sierra. Target their command and control systems first. Humanity's fleet moved with practiced precision, exploiting gaps in the Krylaxian formation created by their failing shields. Ships that had hidden beneath Mars's surface for years now demonstrated the full extent of their capabilities, their quantum weapons tearing through the suddenly vulnerable invasion force. In Geneva, Elena monitored the battle through the quantum grid sensors. "The cascade effect is exceeding predictions," she reported. "Their shield frequencies are completely destabilized. They can't restore normal operation without shutting down their entire defensive grid. And if they do that..." Chen allowed himself a grim smile. The Krylaxians faced an impossible choice: maintain their shields and be destroyed by the cascading resonance, or lower them and face the full fury of humanity's hidden fleet. Some captains chose to surrender immediately. Others, driven by pride or desperation, tried to fight back. The Eternal Dawn, flagship of the Krylaxian fleet, shuddered as its quantum shields reached critical resonance. Crown Prince Zexthor watched in horror as the mighty vessel's defensive systems began to tear it apart from the inside. "Status of the human fleet," he demanded. "They're everywhere," his tactical officer reported. "Their ships match our best capabilities, and their crews..." He paused, studying the battle data. "They're not fighting like a primitive species. Every movement, every attack run, they've trained for this exact scenario." Humanity's forces pressed their advantage. Ships that the Krylaxians had dismissed as primitive now revealed weapon systems specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses in Imperial technology. 15 years of studying the enemy, of analyzing their tactics and technical specifications, paid off in a devastating display of military precision. "Multiple Krylaxian vessels powering down shields," Elena announced. "They're attempting to surrender." Chen nodded. "Accept their surrender, but maintain battlefield positions. Remember, this isn't just about defending Earth. The entire galaxy is watching." He was right. Across the Krylaxian Empire, surveillance systems monitored the battle. On a dozen conquered worlds, resistance fighters watched humanity do the impossible: turn the invincible Imperial fleet into a scattered, broken force in less than an hour of combat. The Eternal Dawn's bridge erupted in chaos as secondary explosions tore through the command deck. Crown Prince Zexthor, heir to the greatest empire the galaxy had ever seen, faced the first defeat of his military career. "Signal our surrender," he ordered, his voice heavy with disbelief. All ships cease combat operations." Throughout the solar system, the greatest space battle in human history drew to a close. Of the 347 Krylaxian capital ships that had entered the system, more than half were destroyed or crippled. The remainder, including the flagship Eternal Dawn, powered down their weapons and prepared to face a future none of them had imagined possible. Humanity had not just defended Earth, they had shattered the myth of Krylaxian invincibility. And as news of the battle spread across the galaxy, the real revolution was about to begin. News of humanity's victory reached the Krylaxian homeworld within hours. The quantum transmission carried an unthinkable message. The Imperial fleet, led by Crown Prince Zexthor himself, had surrendered to a species they'd dismissed as primitive. The response was immediate and devastating. On 17 conquered worlds, resistance cells activated their hidden weapons caches. Earth's intelligence services had spent years preparing for this moment, smuggling advanced technology to oppress species and training freedom fighters. As the Krylaxian Empire scrambled to comprehend its defeat in the Sol system, its entire domain erupted in rebellion. Director Chen reviewed the incoming reports with Dr. Santos. "The Centaurians have seized control of their orbital defenses. The Proxima shipyards are in rebel hands. 3 sector capitals have declared independence." "And the Krylaxian response?" Elena asked, monitoring the quantum communications grid. "Exactly as we predicted. They're paralyzed by indecision. With 40% of their fleet destroyed or captured here, they can't maintain control across their territory. Every ship they send to quell one uprising leaves another system vulnerable. On the Krylaxian throne world, Emperor Vexthor faced the greatest crisis in Imperial history. His heir was a prisoner, his fleet was in ruins, and his empire was collapsing. The humans had not just defeated his military, they had shattered the foundation of Krylaxian power. The Andromeda sector reports major uprisings on all colonial worlds, his advisors reported. The Orion Defense Fleet is refusing orders to engage the rebels. They're demanding proof that we can still protect them from the humans. The Emperor's scaled hands gripped his throne. How? How did they deceive us so completely? The answer came from his own intelligence chief. They understood us better than we understood ourselves, Your Majesty. Our certainty of superiority became our weakness. While we saw what we expected to see, they studied our every move. In Earth orbit, Crown Prince Zexthor faced his captors. The UNDF had converted an orbital station into a diplomatic facility, where humanity would dictate terms not just to the captured fleet, but to the entire Krylaxian Empire. Your empire ends today, Director Chen informed him. But your species need not suffer. Cooperate with the transition, and you can help build something better from the ashes. Zexthor, stripped of his royal regalia, studied the human leader. You planned this from the beginning. Not just the battle, everything. You gave our enemies hope, showed them that we could be defeated. We gave them more than hope, Alina corrected. We gave them the tools and training they needed. Your empire's subject species are rising up with human weapons and human tactics. They learned from our victory. Across the galaxy, the revolution spread faster than the Krylaxians could respond. Species that had suffered under imperial rule for generations found themselves armed with advanced technology and detailed plans. Earth had spent 15 years preparing not just for a battle, but for the complete dismantling of an empire. The Krylaxian military, already reeling from its defeat at Earth, faced impossible choices. Ships sent to crush one rebellion arrived to find their crews sympathetic to the cause. Colonial governors, seeing the empire's weakness, declared independence rather than face the wrath of their subjugated populations. The Arcturus sector has fallen, reported General O'Connor, now coordinating with rebel forces throughout former imperial space. The entire Krylaxian defense grid is offline. Their own officers turned it over to the resistance. In the UNDF command center, Chen and Elena watched the empire collapse. Quantum communications channels filled with declarations of independence, calls for solidarity, and offers of alliance with Earth. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had become a beacon of hope for oppressed species across the galaxy. Emperor Vexthor, facing the inevitable, made his final transmission to his people. The age of the Krylaxian Empire is over. We must adapt or face extinction. Within hours, he surrendered his throne, accepting Earth's terms for a peaceful transition of power. The empire that had dominated galactic politics for 3 centuries died not with a bang, but with a cascade of quantum transmissions. Each message carried the same revolutionary truth. The invincible could be defeated, the mighty could fall, and the destiny of species lay not in conquest, but in cooperation. As the dust settled, humanity emerged not as conquerors, but as liberators. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what Earth had planned all along. 1 year after the fall of the Krylaxian Empire, representatives from 37 spacefaring species gathered in Earth's orbital diplomatic station. The same facility that had once housed surrendering Krylaxian nobles now served as the birthplace of a new galactic order. Dr. Elena Santos stood beside Director Chen as they prepared to address the Galactic Unity Conference. The chamber held a staggering array of life forms, former slaves and masters, rebels and imperial loyalists, all united by the recognition that the old way of conquest and domination had ended. The human deception was masterful. A Centaurian delegate observed, "You hid your true strength not to conquer, but to liberate." Chen nodded. Strength alone changes nothing. We needed to show that resistance was possible, that unity was stronger than subjugation. The conference's primary task was establishing the Galactic Concordat, a new framework for interstellar relations. Humanity, despite its pivotal role in defeating the Krylaxians, had insisted on equal representation for all species. The age of empires was over. The era of cooperation had begun. Former Crown Prince Zexthor, now serving as the Krylaxian representative, addressed the assembly. My people learned a costly lesson about the price of arrogance. We believed technological superiority granted us the right to rule. The humans proved that true strength lies in understanding, patience, and unity. The Concordat's founding principles reflected humanity's vision: mutual defense, technological exchange, and protection for developing civilizations. The quantum entanglement grid that had defeated the Krylaxian fleet was now repurposed as the backbone of an interstellar communication network. We stand at a crossroads, Elena told the assembled delegates. The knowledge and technology that ended one empire can either forge a lasting peace or spark 1,000 new conflicts. The choice is ours. The former imperial capital, once a symbol of Krylaxian dominance, was transformed into the Concordat's headquarters. Species that had been enemies for centuries now worked together, sharing discoveries and resolving disputes through diplomacy rather than warfare. Earth's quantum laboratories became centers for galactic cooperation. The Lena led teams of scientists from dozens of species, combining their knowledge to solve challenges that had once seemed insurmountable. The same creativity that had conceived the Krylaxian defeat now drove innovations in medicine, environmental restoration, and faster-than-light travel. The humans' greatest weapon wasn't their technology, a proximate philosopher noted. It was their ability to imagine a different future and work patiently to achieve it. The Galactic Unity Conference concluded with the signing of the Concordat. As delegates from 37 worlds added their signatures, quantum transmitters carried the moment to every corner of known space. The message was clear. The galaxy had entered a new age. Director Chen, watching the proceedings, reflected on humanity's journey. We could have used our advantage to become the new empire. Instead, we chose to break the cycle of dominance and submission. Because true power, Elena added, lies not in controlling others, but in helping them realize their own strength. As the first year of the Concordat drew to a close, ships from a dozen species patrolled former imperial space together. The quantum grid that had once been a weapon now connected worlds in commerce and cultural exchange. Former Krylaxian colonies flourished under self-governance, while the Krylaxians themselves found a new identity as equals rather than conquerors. Humanity had changed the galaxy not through overwhelming force, but through patience, understanding, and the recognition that true victory meant creating a future where victory itself became unnecessary. In the depths of space, where the final battle had taken place, a memorial now orbited the sun. Its quantum-etched surface bore words in 37 languages, but its message was universal. Here ended an empire of conquest. Here began an era of unity. The stars beckoned, not as territories to be conquered, but as frontiers to be explored together. Humanity had shown the galaxy a different path, and now all species walked it side by side, towards a future limited only by their collective imagination.